What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Black Wrestling News. I found an article written in CageSide Seats, and the article is written by Marcus Benjamin. His headline reads The One Conclusion from WWE's Love Affair with Hulk Hogan. Apparently, you can't keep a good noted racist down so far as WWE is concerned. I've often wondered why does the WWE keep bringing this man back? Well, there have been so many decent black wrestlers that the WWE wrote off a long time ago, but they keep bringing him back for some unexplained reason. Well, let me read this article written by Marcus Benjamin from Cage Side Seats. Every now and then, the people in charge at my high school let us shed our constrictive uniforms for a little self expression. So, quote, dress down days, close quote, became like manna for a starving student body, dying to ditch the ties, skirts, and sometimes blazer in favor of whatever was fly in the early 2000s. During one of said days, during my junior year, my ethics teacher dropped a jewel that took permanent residence in my brain. He took a tad bit of umbrage with a sophomore girl rocking a Playboy bunny t-shirt. He wasn't against Hugh Hefner's enterprise so as much as he took issue with the 15-year-old advertising said enterprise for him, even if she disagreed with the magazine or had no one posing plans of her own. Rocking the t-shirt was an endorsement. Therefore, the harmless piece of clothing she took the occasion to throw on gay Playboy and its sometimes sordid history, tacit content. So this article's in Cage Side Seats. Quote, I understood that as a teenage know-it-all, but it didn't really hit me until I became an adult know-it-all. That's why it always feels like a kick in the gut whenever WWE trots Hulk Hogan out in public for his seemingly endless senior citizen farewell tours. Not only is he showing up for their generous Netflix Monday Night Raw, but it's been officially announced he'll have his brand plastered on Raw's ring mat. So yeah, he's permanently a part of weekly WWE programming until someone who writes very big paychecks says otherwise. Given WWE's history with this cat, it's hard to see otherwise ever happening. For a company that claims it's for everyone and is painfully apolitical, its actions with the Hulkster tell a very different story, and it's a sad one at that. During what feels like a very brief period, Hogan was persona non grata in WWE. Remember that? The man did admit on tape that he's a racist, so no longer selling Hulk Rules t-shirts felt like the least they could do. 3 years later, the racism that ran through the pythons for God knows how many years seemingly dried up just enough for WWE to welcome him home with open arms and creased checkbooks. They excused his thin explanations and apparently an even thinner apology that fell on at least a few deaf ears in the locker room. Shockingly, Titus O'Neil wasn't won over by the idea that if you say something foul, just make sure no one is recording you first. I don't think I'm going out on even the thinnest limb when I say that if he pulled that in front of a majority black locker room, Hogan wouldn't get 2 seconds on WWE speed, much less Monday Night Raw. You got that right. It's not surprising WWE got back in bed with the man who helped build them into the behemoth they are today. But it's disappointing the company tops out a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. tribute every January. Will tell us its fans the guy who is only sorry he got caught truly deserves the patience, forgiveness, and tolerance that Dr. King died for. No, Dr. King didn't die. Dr. King was assassinated. So let me correct that. Of all the things that Martin Luther King Jr. didn't die or assassinated for, helping that same cat shield his latest IPA venture, sits at the top of that list. But then there's the politics. Look, I understand that the pendulum swings both ways on this one. The company that swears on a stack of Bibles is thoroughly apolitical, has relationships with Hulk Hogan and Jesse Ventura. How the F ever there's a difference when the former backs a guy whose entire political ethos conflicts with everything Hogan supposedly stood for. As my guy Sean aptly interfered or inferred, fight for the rights of every man was a mantra, not just a lyric to a superhero theme song. He's nakedly political in a way that traditionally made apolitical companies nervous. I don't know WWE's code of conduct, neither do they apparently for its wrestlers. But the same smart money says if any current wrestler made their political leaning that obvious, that person's head would roll if only for a little bit. You know it, and I know it. It's called a double standard. One for people like Hulk Hogan, and another for everyday people that work for WWE. Triple H, get your shift together. But I guess campaigning has a different ring to it when the McMahon matriarch and patriarch had too many ties to count to the one and future president of the United States. That, along with other institutional and societal biases, make tacit consent feel like outright endorsement, or tacit consent feel like outright endorsement. And for what? Hogan's heyday was 40 years ago. He just can't let it go. Selfish. WWE's lavish devotion comes from an era that's ancient history to its younger fans, while cats my age probably feel more nostalgia for Steve Austin or The Rock. Even the man's hometown had no love for him, and yet, like Gretchen Wieners trying to make Fetch happy, WWE persists for what I can only assume are basketball reasons. From the outset looking in, or from the outside looking in rather, it appears that Hulk will always rule because there are enough people in Stamford, Connecticut, who either agree with him or don't care enough to raise more than an elbow or two, an eyebrow or two rather. I'm not sure which is worse. What I do know is that my ethics teacher would say that a company who uses a person with that much baggage in their advertising and events while making him a literal foundation of their weekly programming doesn't get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to what they say they represent. And let me add this before I end this article. I don't know any black wrestler who worked for Vince McMahon or for the WWF or now WWE that could have done the same crap that Hogan has done and gotten away with and still become employable. They really don't even honor black wrestlers in WWE. That Hall of Fame is a joke. They had some of the greatest black wrestlers in the history of the company. But did they honor them? No, they don't. Every now and then they'll trot them out during Black History Month. We don't give a damn about their crap. Every day is history for us. And just because the WWE is a monolithic, a global organization, doesn't mean many of the decisions that they say and do are right. How many more times do we have to see this old, washed up, has-been relic from the past? That was 40 years ago. You can look at him and tell he was on steroids for a long, long time. Hulk Hogan is no hero of mine. If you want him to be your hero, you can have him. But this black man is done with Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania forever. He showed his true colors during the Republican convention. This isn't WWE wearing a Playboy shirt, so much as it's them creating their own wing in the Playboy mansion, but pretending they don't even know the address. So once again, this article, giving credit to the writer of the article, was written by, go way down, Marcus Benjamin from CageSide Cite. Till next video, I'm Tyrone Bowman.